Welcome to episode 9 of Random Talk. Okay, we made it to another one, and we also made it to another day. You know how I feel about that, making it to another day. So the previous episode, we were talking about pushing through abuse, and that was a sensitive subject, but today is a little lighter, but it's still a little sensitive for some people. So we're going to talk about pushing through not graduating. This may seem like a silly topic for some people, but I know for me, graduating was like the most exciting thing for myself. I had that visualized in my mind because I loved school. I loved education. I was a straight A student. I was on the honor roll. I was in the beta club, So I was, just that little nerd. It was just so much fun to me, school and learning. And then it was sadly, taken away from me. And I know so many people will say, you could have got through it. But until you live the life of a person, you never know what they can get through. Now, before we move into the reason that I didn't get to graduate, can I just put something out there in the universe for people? So for those of you, very educated people, you graduated from high school and you went off and you got your degree and then your next degree, whatever it is that you're doing. I am very proud of it. I have nothing against it. But what I do have something against is the closed-mindedness. So please make sure that if you are a person that immediately hears that someone didn't graduate and you just assume that it's because they're not smart, they're not educated, or it's because they just dropped out because they didn't want to go to school, I want you to learn and take from this random talk that every person that does not graduate, it's a story behind it. It's a reason behind it. Sometimes people don't even know that education is that important to graduate. Sometimes people are going through homelessness and they can't graduate. Then other times people like myself are experiencing abuse and then their grades fall. And so we're going to get into why, but I just want to put that out there. So when you see the letters GED, that is no less than someone with a high school diploma because they still have to work to get it. They still have to make a choice to go get it. So please, please, please open your mindsets and make sure that you accept it just the same. That's just my little spiel on that for people because I've experienced being on interview committees and people would overlook the person that has the GED, but they still went off to school. It's sad. It's disheartening. So that's my spiel on that. But let's get into not graduating. That was like the most. Now, I've been through abuse and I've been through sickness. I've been through betrayals, many things, but it took a long time for me to process not being able to graduate because it was just such a dream of mine and I was putting in the work and I felt like it was kind of stolen from me. And the reason is because I went from being a straight A student. Now, I have to remind you, those of you that saw episode 5 of Random Talk, if you didn't, go check it out. But I was talking about an unexpected situation that happened with my youngest son in the local school district in my local area. Well, that's what we're going to touch base on now because this is still the same local school district and the same local area. That's why I said because I was also a student. And so I went from being a straight A student. So what student goes from being straight A's to falling down to C's and F's and it not alarm the school to be able to say, let's check into this. So by the time the school decided to be alarmed about, my grades dropping, I had already made up in my mind that I was just done by that point because it was a year later. And so they told me that in order to graduate with my class, and let me remind you, this class that I was going to graduate with, it wasn't even like my favorite class because most of them were awful. They were inconsiderate. They were selfish. Not everyone, but teenagers and going through high school. High school can be the best experience for some people and it can be just like the worst and it can be in between. So for me, it was on that in between level, but they were telling me that I would have to go to night school. I would have to pass all of my classes and not fail one, go to night school, pass all those classes, and then go to summer school. I was like, no, I'm not doing it because you have to remember during that time, I went through so much abuse. So I was just tired. So always remember that behind a person who does not graduate, typically 90% of the time, it is going to be a testimony. It's going to be a story. And so that is what led me into getting my GED. But I just want to tell all of you out there who are probably struggling with not graduating, if you are in school right now, whether you're a teenager and you're struggling in school, there are some teams, let me say, There are some teenagers that just choose. I know some. I don't want to continue to go to high school. So they will, discontinue high school and go get their GED. And it's not because they're not smart. It's just because they don't like the experience of being in high school. But for those of you that are having hard times, you're struggling through some things and you're not able to get your diploma, please, please, please do not let anyone make you feel less than if you have to end up getting your GED. Because half of the time, let me tell you, my mother always told me, because she had to help me process that thing, because I was so hard on myself because I knew my potential and I felt like if I had just pushed a little harder, I should have been able to get through it, but not realizing how much I was pushing through and I just didn't have the energy. So it went from me making straight A's to C's and F's, and it was because I was falling asleep in class because I was so stressed out. I was so exhausted from the abuse and the mental abuse, the verbal, just all of that, and it just took a toll on my grades. But for those of you who are struggling within yourself, because sometimes it's just a goal that you have for yourself, please do not feel bad about yourself, because at the end of the day, my mother told me a lot of the people that walked across that stage will not value that diploma the way that they should, and they will not do half as much as what you are going to do with your GED. And luckily to say, that has happened. So I bet it will be a shocker, because a lot of times I sit at tables, rooms where they say you're not supposed to be in. I have sat at many of those tables and many of those rooms, and people have no earthly idea that I did not get my high school diploma until I tell them. Half of the time, the people think I have like a master's degree and a doctorate, and I don't have either one of those either. So it's all about how you carry yourself. It's all about what you believe in yourself. So please, 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 in this random talk, I want everyone to know, if you did not graduate, you are still just as good as the people who did. If you have not subscribed to Novelty Woman Speaks, I need you to click that subscribe button now and make sure that you tune in for the next random talk.